Hey, welcome everyone. Super excited. I'm hoping that we are good to go. Everything is all set. Audio, video, good. I've checked everything. I've made sure everything is all set up. So if somebody could please let me know in the chat, that would help out. I tried a couple of weeks ago to do the little intro thing, and I don't know. I'm afraid if I do that every single time, I won't remember to edit it out later on as I'm looking at this. So, okay, it looks like...
I don't see that we're live.
It's up. I mean, it's showing that it's up. Is everybody here? Can everybody see me? What's going on here? I think there is a couple of second delay, like maybe, there we go. Audio, video, good, Candy said. I think there's like a 20-second delay. I don't have that set up on purpose, but I think that that's what it does.
Okay.
So there we go. Lisa has gone with the secretary look tonight, which I appreciate very much because I'm always telling her, you need to wear the glasses.
Stop.
It's a...
I wear them to see.
Well, but it's good for me to see too. Not that you look bad with them not on, but anyway. Okay, here we are, folks. We are live. We do this every single Thursday night. We are not prepared for tonight because of all of the madness that's been going on for the last couple of weeks. Not only has there been a lot of chaos for us and our personal lives with our guest that we had last week and all of the events surrounding that, but then also the dogs decide to bark when we're going live on YouTube. Also, we had a situation happen in the fish room, which is, it is what it is. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, and also talk about what is supposed to be happening tomorrow. Is it happening tomorrow? I don't know. I can tell by the lack of people in here live right now that everybody's watching the news. That's why nobody's going to be in here. I was expecting a low turnout tonight. Didn't have any lead in from Corey, which is an amazing thing. And then, everybody's panicking. Everybody's freaking out. The only thing is I didn't get the opportunity to tell you before we went live that
Shocker.
If you talk about the C word, and I don't mean the see you next Tuesday word, I mean the C word that's in the news.
I can't believe you just said that.
You end up getting demonetized on YouTube. So we have to be careful with that.
Okay.
But, it is what it is. YouTube is trying to stop misinformation being sent out there.
Makes
And
sense.
it does make sense. But that thing that is going on in the news might mess our weekend up. And that's unfortunate, but let's start off good. Let's start off happy and positive. Let's talk about last weekend and the all of the events of last weekend, which was a lot of fun. Obviously, if you watched the stream last week, I had a special guest in here, and Marie was sitting in the other room because she's antisocial and didn't want to be on here.
I was trying to give the boys their space.
It was wonderful. I mean, I was giving Corey his space. I was just letting him do his thing, and I'm gonna,
It's not funny. He left his nuts here.
Oh, well, that sounded weird.
Mixed
okay.
nuts.
It's, yeah.
They're
Thanks.
right here next to me.
Thanks, Corey. But yeah, Corey came in last week and did the stream with us, and then we had all day on Friday, and we made a bunch of videos. It was really, we did a members only video for him. We did a members only video for us, which we have not uploaded yet. That's going to go up tomorrow. And then we were I said, Corey, just get in front of that green screen. And I didn't say that. He said, John, I'm going to get in front of the green screen. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I would just basically feed him topics like, okay, we're going to do a 10 things episode on the 10 cutest fish in the hobby. And he'd be like, all right, push record. And I'd push record, and he would record a segment of that.
It was fun.
And then the same thing happened with the plants. That was originally going to be a 10 things episode where it was going to be you and him, you doing 5, him doing 5. But then I was just like, you know what? This is perfect on its own. So we put that up on Tuesday, and people seem to be getting a kick out of it, the bloopers. Did you notice something about the bloopers, though? They were all me. It was me messing up every time. It wasn't Corey. The only time Corey had to do more than one take was when the dogs were barking.
Oh, I thought it was when you messed up.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The bloopers were all me messing up, and he did perfectly. He was just like one take every time. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, man, I wish my life could be like this. And then one time he had to start over was when the dogs started barking. And that's actually in the video. It's at the end. If you watched the video on Tuesday and you didn't stay all the way to the end, you made a mistake, because there's a lot of fun at the end of that video. So that was really cool. Friday, it was awesome. I love hanging out with that guy. You love hanging out with that guy. In fact, when he left, you sent me a text saying, I miss that guy. And it was a lot of fun. Saturday, we went up to the Potomac Valley Aquarium Society meeting. And I was there unannounced. Nobody was there to see us. They were all there to see him.
Yep.
And the really cool thing about it, I had more than one person come to me, because there was a couple of people there that I had met at past events and stuff like that. And they came up to me and
from King George.
Yeah, one guy lives right up the road. A couple of people came up to me and said, this is the biggest attendance we've ever had at a meeting like this. And that's for Corey. That's not for us. I mean, that was absolutely for him. So that was awesome. But I'm going to tell you something. A lot of things Corey does impresses me. But something that I was just unbelievably impressed with. I've been doing this a long time, doing live streams, I haven't gotten up in front of people and talked because nobody's ever asked me to, but public speaking and making videos and doing live streams and all of that kind of stuff. I've been doing it for years. And we're sitting in the back of the meeting. They got it started. They had a couple of other speakers that were doing meeting stuff. And I look over at Corey and I realize he's just sitting there watching. He's just sitting there watching the meeting. And I'm like, dude, don't you have like any notes? Aren't you like frantically going through what you're going to talk about? And he's like, no, I'll just go up there and wing it. Okay, I know how disastrous that would be if I did it.
Yeah.
He got up there and murdered that place. I mean, I was so impressed with just how fluently he got up there and spoke. We all know Corey. We know how good he is.
He had some really sweet stories to include Katie into, and it was so sweet. I was like messaging her the whole time. I'm like, oh, Corey said some really sweet stuff about you.
He did. And it was awesome. He was crediting her for, a lot of the success that they've had is
it was great.
Her, allowing him to do what he does. So it was awesome.
There was more to it than that.
Well, I know. I'm just giving little bullet points. That's all. I'm not going to give the whole speech. But the cool thing is, let me tell you this. I had pretty much already heard the whole talk because Corey did that talk the night before.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
It was sort of like practice.
Well, but it's not like he just sat here and rehearsed with me. No, we actually recorded that. I recorded it on my phone. And Corey basically gave the entire talk that he gave at that meeting for his members, which is awesome. So if you're curious to know what Corey talked about at that meeting, if you're a member of his channel, watch that video. He just put it up
Today.
Was it today? Today or yesterday? So very, very cool. You'll get a good taste of what it was that he talked about. Because when he got up there and started talking, I was like, I've kind of heard this before. I didn't realize he was doing the same thing, but it was very cool. It was a lot of fun. He went home Sunday morning and we had a great time with him. It's awesome. So can't speak highly enough about that weekend. It was a lot of fun and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about business. I learned a lot about YouTube. You have to when you're around Corey because that's just what he does. He's just a encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to fish keeping, when it comes to YouTube, everything. Mm-hmm. So value time with him. It is amazing. Now,
I'm really like enjoying this chair. I got this swivel chair and I just go around and around. I just feel like going around and around while you're talking, but I'm not. I'm not going to do it.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's talk about what is supposed to be going on this weekend. We'll go through We'll go through some super chats, and then we will get on with the horrible topic of the day today. But tomorrow, folks, is supposed to be the start of the big fish deal. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that I would use the word supposed to be. I would say it's supposed to be the start of the big fish deal. I'm not making any announcements. I'm not saying that it's been canceled because to my knowledge, it has not officially been canceled yet. But you know what's happening. Everybody's losing their minds. All of professional athletics and college athletics has shut down. Schools are shutting down. It's bad. And here, particularly around the DC area, it's real bad. I mean, I'm not saying that the pandemic is bad. I'm saying the reaction to it is very bad. And the state of Maryland has basically called a state of emergency.
So did DC.
And they have actually, it says that the government has canceled all events that are 250 people or more. It used to be they're suggesting that groups of 300 or more do not assemble. Now they're saying they've canceled. That's what it said on a thing that Scott sent me. Scott from King and Queen Cichlids. So they might not have a choice. I mean, it might get shut down even if they don't want to shut it down. And I feel bad. I mean, I feel bad for it. I'm not going to sit here and get into the debate. Is people overreacting? I mean, I know there was another streamer today that banned you on his stream that
how dare him?
Was talking like, it's just another flu, let it go. It's not a big deal. This is all an overreaction.
I want to make one thing clear. I asked to be banned just to see what it looked like, but I couldn't see it. So yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
Do you like how I did that? I took the camera off of me so I could vape so that nobody would yell at me. I'm sure you could probably still hear me, but camera's on both of us, by the way. But I'm not going to get into it because it doesn't really matter, and I don't feel like having YouTube get mad at me for it. They can demonetize the stream, and that's fine. That wouldn't bother me. But anyway, I don't like strikes. I don't want there to be a strike on me. But so I'm not going to get into that. But what I will get into is this is a small club that's putting this event together tomorrow. It's their biggest event of the year, and it's a moneymaker for them. I mean, and it's something that they had to put a lot of money out to set it up, to reserve the space and for the hotel rooms and all of this kind of stuff, manpower, and then to have to cancel it. I mean, that's going to be brutal to a club like that. And I feel bad. I mean, I can't say I hope it happens. I kind of feel like it's inevitable at this point, and that makes me feel bad, but we'll have to see what happens with it. But we hope to be up there tomorrow, but I don't know. I mean, I know that there's a couple of YouTubers that have already bowed out, and I don't blame them. I mean, one of them was coming from a real long distance away. I mean, it is what it is, but we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I just feel horrible about it. So, hopefully if they do have no choice but to cancel it, hopefully they get their money back, because it's beyond their control. It's like, hey, we want to do this, but the government won't let us, so we should get our money back. Hopefully that's what happens. So let me go through this here real quick. Luke Billington with the €2 €2 best algae eater fish to go in 4-foot guppy tank. I like autos for a tank that size.
I like autos.
Hillstream loaches would be fun. That's, autos, hillstream loaches, and snails. How about that? Beta time stories, or beta time stories, as I'm sure that person would like to be called, just became a member. Welcome to the team. Joel G with New Zealand $2. Said it over and over and over again. How dare you, Joel? You're a rascal. I don't think you can get in trouble for saying it, but YouTube is trying to control the mass hysteria. You see, if you haven't figured it out yet, the internet is a place where people want attention. And so they go on whatever the hot button item is. If there's drama happening, if there's a virus that's spreading across the world, they go and they make all of these fear-mongering videos. And that's what YouTube is trying to avoid. So you can say it, but I can't. Robert Egan says, here's $2. I am here. Glad to have you, my friend. Furlough's Fish Room, thinking of doing a shell dweller tank. Any tips or tricks? Never really been my thing. It's not that I dislike them. They've never been something that I have done myself. I do like them. I can tell you they're not overly difficult to keep. If you do it right, you will get a lot of fry, which is cool. The shells are a lot of fun because you do get to watch them go in there. The big shells, I'm not really sure where to source those big shells, but it's very cool to see them make their little homes in those shells. It's very cool. And I'm a lulupi. That's what I call them. Lulupi? Lulupi. I don't know how you pronounce that name. I love those, the bright yellow fish. And I love the Julies. I'm a big fan of Julies. So there's about all the tips that I can give you. But it's a great way to get into African cichlids. You don't need a huge tank, and they're a lot of fun.
They're cute. I mean, and if you want to learn about them, honestly, I would go check out Rachel because she has tons of videos about them.
There you go.
Yep.
Multi-Tank Addiction by Lisa and ice cream this weekend. I will do that, my friend. I hope that Oscar photo worked out well for you. Benjo reacts with the $2. Benjo or Benyo? I'm not sure, but either way, sounds good to me just because we love you guys.
Aww.
With the $2. And Natalie O'Malley just got some rummy nose and some Harlequin rasboras. Think
awesome.
that's how it's spelt. Absolutely love them. Thanks for the suggestions. Two of my absolutely favorite fish.
Yep.
And you are going to find yourself calling them Harlequins just like we do. And Marcus Payne decided to become a member. Welcome to Fry. Probably a big announcement coming up very soon about members. Going to be some changes that are going to happen. And not bad. Don't worry. Not bad. It's going to be good in the long run. It's going to be good. So anyway, that is that for the Super Chats. I guess I'll put the camera on me to talk about this first part of today's main topic. Sure. Because, I mean, it involves me, I guess. Well, not I guess.
But I'm the one that found it.
Yes, you are.
It was devastating.
I know that you're still having a hard time in your grief, and I understand.
Okay.
I will make sure I credit you with finding it. So listen, folks, the only way I can start this off as far as talking about this catastrophe, I shouldn't have called it a catastrophe because it's one fish. I lost a fish this week, and it's a devastating one for me, and it's catastrophic for me. But usually that might have even been considered to be clickbait because catastrophe, you think like, oh my God, one of the tanks blew up, or an entire tank of fish was wiped out or something like that. It's not like that, but to me, it's a catastrophe. And it all stems from me at the moment, as we sit here right now, being completely and totally overwhelmed. I'm not trying to get sympathy from anybody. I'm not trying to get anybody to feel sorry for me or anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of nonsense happening with my other job. I'm not calling it my full-time job anymore. I'm not talking about my real job. I'm not going to say that because our YouTube channel is actually generating more of an income than my full-time job is right now. So, they're my jobs. I've got 2 full-time jobs basically. And it's overwhelming. We're on a wave right now with the YouTube channel and things are going amazingly. Thank you all for that. Absolutely incredible what's happening. And, YouTube does kind of go in waves. When you hit a wave, you got to ride that wave as long as you can. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. And then on top of that, all this nonsense going on with my other job. It's had me very, very preoccupied. It's had me just completely overwhelmed. And I missed something. I didn't react to something the way that I probably should have. I'm going to put you back on because this is going to involve you.
Okay.
Was it Sunday? It was. You can't do that. You can't have a fever.
There's congestion in there. It's not dry.
Okay, good. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. See, I don't get out into the fish room as nearly as much as I should since I've come down here. And I actually feel bad about it because I don't hardly see the cats. I don't get to spend time with the fish. It's nobody's fault but mine. I put myself in this position, but I'm down here a lot of the time. And I don't get as much time in the fish room, but I will go in there and I'll check things out and see how things are going. And I'll clean algae and, I'll do what fish keepers do. I'll do my water changes and stuff like that. Basically, I have my 2 tanks out there and I take care of them as far as the maintenance goes. You have your 74 tanks out there that you take care of.
I feed your fish too.
But I was just about to say, but she also feeds my fish. She goes out there and she'll feed hers and she'll feed mine. Now, if I go into the fish room in the middle of the day and you're not home and I just go out there to check the fish, I usually won't feed them. And the main reason why is because I know you're going to that night. And if I feed them, I'll forget to tell you, hey, I fed my fish. Plus, I'll feel bad if I feed mine and not hers. So I'm just like, forget it. I'll save it for her because I know she'll put that in her routine to feed the fish. But if you're in the room with me, I will feed them. You'll see that I fed them, and you won't do it. So Saturday or Sunday, I think it was Sunday, I fed the fish, and one of my arowanas didn't eat. It was just one. The Severums ate, the Oscars, of course the Oscars ate, and the other 2 arowanas ate aggressively like they normally would. As soon as the food hits the water, boom, it's like it's chaos in there. All of them. The arowanas practically jump out of the water to get the food.
They look like they want to attack me every time I feed them. I lift the lid up and I'm like, put it down real quick.
She gets scared because she thinks they're...
I don't get scared. It's just they're all getting really big and they come at me at one time like, feed me, woman. And I'm like, hold on.
It's kind of like I am about 6 o'clock at night. But I put the food in there, the normal food, and one of the arowanas did not go after it like he normally would. I say he, I don't know if it's a he or if it was a she. I don't know what the food is. Well, what? I don't know what the fish is. So I said to you that day, when that happened, I said, this fish isn't eaten. Something I should keep an eye on. Those were my exact words. Keep an eye on that or something, I said. And the thing is, like 2 days later, you come downstairs. Guess what? The arowana's dead.
It wasn't beat up. Nothing like that. It was just straight up and down in the corner floating.
There were no signs at all that anything was wrong with this fish except for the fact that it was not aggressively eating its food. There was no frayed fins. There was no bumps, no scars, no missing scales, no nothing. This was a perfect fish. It was not emaciated. I mean, it looked plump. It looked perfect. I mean, if it didn't, I would have reacted like that. It would have been instantaneous. But you know, as well as I do, because you're watching, there's 487 crazy fish keepers watching this right now. And you know that sometimes a fish will not aggressively go after its food. And it's not time to hit the panic button unless this happens for multiple days in a row.
And it looks all skinny or... I mean, if it's caught ahead of time, you'd think you'd be able to fix the problem, but...
If it was something that was that far advanced, you would think there would be some kind of visible clue that something like that was going on. But there was nothing. It was... The fish looked perfect. And 2 days later, it was dead. Now... The reason why I put in the title of this live stream, could this have been avoided? I don't know. I don't know if this is something that could have been avoided. But what I do know is I do have some guilt because it does make me wonder, well, should I have overreacted? Kind of like people are accusing our government of doing right now. Should I have immediately gotten on that because a fish didn't eat one meal? Now, see, here's the thing. Right. The next day, I went out there again. I got home from work because what was that?
Monday?
Tuesday? No, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
Found him Tuesday morning.
Yeah. So I got home from work Tuesday. No, I got home from work Monday because I knew I'd fed the fish on Sunday and I knew that one fish didn't eat. Went out into the fish room. This is why I was telling all of you that I don't always feed the fish because I'll leave it for you because I don't want to overfeed these fish. Right. So I go in there and I see all 3 arowanas swimming like they normally do. They're kind of in tandem. They're all doing what they do. Fish looks perfect. Everything looks fine. I make a mental note. I say, okay, I'm going to ask Lisa, did the arowana eat? Which of course I forgot. And then the next morning it was dead. So Monday afternoon, I don't know what time I got home from work. The fish was perfectly fine. Tuesday morning, it's dead. So I honestly don't know that there was anything I could have done. I mean, it was whatever it was, it hit that fish and it hit him fast and it had no visible signs of any kind of trauma or injuries or anything like that. So I don't know what it was. I don't know what took this fish out. It certainly didn't starve to death. It was nice and plump. I just don't know. And these are the kind of things when these happen. You see that tank behind Marie there's probably 24 fish in there. There's harlequins, there's danios, there's angels, and that's it, right? Just those 3 fish?
Harlequins, danios.
Yeah, and angels. Two different types of angels.
Yeah, 2 different types of danios too.
There's pearls and zebras, right?
Yes.
So there's 24 fish in there. If one of those,
What?
I'm getting a weird signal here. What's happening? Are you still with us here, folks? Let me see what's going on here.
Oh, it looks like it's still on.
Okay, I'm getting a weird little notification, which I've never received on my screen. I hope that everything's okay. Yeah, we might be getting shut down, but I'm just going to keep on going. I don't know. I hope everything's okay, but this has not happened. And you know what? This is where we're going to start getting all the people over and over again. Buffering. Like that's my favorite time to be a streamer. But there's nothing I can do here. We're hooked up to the super fast internet. Our internet is trash out here and there's nothing that we can do about it. So what? Somebody just messaged you're buffering?
No.
Is it Bob?
Bob said, I just thought it must have been like a few minutes ago, but he said something about my fake cough.
Oh. Yeah, I hope that this is, I hope the stream's coming through. I don't know. It's buffering. Here we go. Here they come. Anyway.
It's okay.
I'm just going to keep on talking because, I don't really know. I don't know how else to do it. So, okay. Okay. I'm going to close that and we'll see what happens. So anyway, the point, the reason why I'm bringing this up and talking about this, well, first of all, we're YouTubers. We can't hide it. I mean, I haven't shown that tank in a while. And when I have shown that tank, it's been B-roll that was taken a month and a half ago. But we just haven't been doing videos out there. I mean, it's not for any reason other than, we've just been down here and we've had Corey and we've been doing this and doing that. So you haven't seen that fish in a while, but we are very transparent. We show all of our fish. You're gonna see it at some point that, that tank that used to have 3 arowanas now only has 2. So there is no hiding it. We could have held on to it for a while and told you all later. I could have made up some kind of dramatic story.
Yep.
What are you going to make up? I mean, I don't know, but I certainly wasn't going to make up. It jumped out like 2 arowanas in 6 months have jumped out of the tank. No, it wasn't going to do that. So, I feel like the best strategy when something like that happens is to be transparent, talk about it, talk about what could have been done differently. And maybe someone can learn from our misfortune here.
So it's a learning experience from us.
It is. And what I was getting at before the internet did what it did, if I lost one of the Harlequins in that tank behind Lisa, no one would know. And I wouldn't have to say anything. Even if one of the angels went in there, there's 3 black angels in there that you probably can't even see because they're only maybe 50-cent piece size and the background's black. You can't even see them.
Yep.
So we could have a fish or 2. We could have 5 fish in that tank die and not say a word and nobody would know any different. But when you're talking about a 14-inch arowana, people are going to know. And so I'm not going to try to hide that from anybody. But Moonstone, I happen to look down, says we all lose fish. It's true. But when you're on YouTube and 165,000 people, it's something that obviously not 165,000 people watch all of our videos, but you understand what I'm saying. We are public. We are showing everything that we're doing. It's not something that you can hide. And I'm certainly not going to act like it didn't happen. I'm not going to say, well, hey, here's my arowanas and just act like I've had 2 this whole time. But the lesson learned here, I think, and I thought of this the second I was bagging that fish up to dispose of it, my immediate thought was the lesson learned here for anybody is don't allow yourself to be so overwhelmed with everything else that you lose track of what's going on. I don't know if I could have saved that fish. I don't know what I would have done because there was no visible signs. There was nothing. The fish was not lethargic. Everything was normal. It just didn't eat that one time. So I don't even know what I would have done to start treating that fish. But I feel like I could have kept a closer eye on things. And a couple of feedings later, if it still hadn't eaten, okay, now we have a problem. Now we need to figure it out. I don't know where I would have put the fish because I'm not going to treat 360 gallons with General Cure. I don't have one of those buckets.
We probably would have had to have moved it to one of the
75s.
Because we either have 10s, 75s, or 125s or bigger. So it's like, it would have to have been, and there's no way it could have gone with my guppies.
Yeah, no. But, it wasn't eaten, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. But, don't...
Taking that chance, though.
I don't want to make a joke out of it,
may
but...
have started trying to eat at that point.
Hey, maybe we'd still be alive to this day if we had. But anyway, all jokes aside, all of us, I hate, and she can tell you, when I have a conversation with somebody and they say, oh, I'm just so busy. Our kid came over last week. There's a crib sitting back there behind the wall that you can't see anymore. He still hasn't come picked it up. And he came over and I'm so busy. I just haven't been able. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to put my fist through the wall. It doesn't matter who says it. It's not when it's him. It's anybody. I'm too busy. I just can't stand it. But we all are busy people. We've got to update our status on Facebook. We got to watch 4 different fish keeping live streams every night. We've got videos to make. We've got jobs. We've got kids. We've got dogs. Don't allow yourself to get so complacent, which is exactly what happened to me. It's like, you know what? The tank looks good. Fish are all healthy. They're being taken care of. I'm just not getting the personal time with them that I would like. But they're okay. Everything's fine. Don't allow yourself to be complacent like I allowed myself to be. And I lost the fish. I probably would have lost the fish anyway. I think that whatever it was that took that fish, it took it fast, and it is what it is. It was probably going to happen no matter what. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have probably gone ahead and reacted. I don't know how we would have done it, and I don't know what we would have done, but I would have tried something. But all of us, we live these busy lives, and it's very easy to allow that kind of thing to happen. And so that's just kind of my warning to you from my own personal experience from this week. If you follow this channel, if you have for any length of time, you know arowanas are my favorite fish. They are the fish that got me into this hobby. Long term, as crazy as it sounds and as insensitive as it sounds, it's probably going to end up being a blessing in disguise, because I probably should have only had 2 anyway. So now I don't have a choice but to only have 2. I hope that made sense. I hope you know what I mean. I'm not glad that the fish died. I'm just saying, I try to make a positive out of things. When things happen, instead of just dropping off the ledge, I try to think of some way to turn it into a positive. And that's the only positive that I can come up with, is that, I was probably going to end up needing to rehome at least one of them anyway. So now I don't have to. So now that I've made myself look like a jerk, let me read some things that make me feel real good about myself. Let's see. Where did I stop off last time? Natalie O'Malley. Yes. Marcus Payne. I think I said that too, didn't I? Became a new member. Melissa Graves with the $2. Best way to clean a used 55-gallon aquarium. I'm going to put the camera on you because you have a lot of experience cleaning used aquariums.
Oh my gosh. Well, when we had the fish store, we went to Tennessee and bought a whole bunch of aquariums, like 2 U-Hauls full. And they had the calcium from the water around like the top part and a little bit down. And no matter what I did, I really couldn't get it 100%. But I did use a lot of vinegar, white vinegar, and a razor blade. I had to be real careful with the razor blade because you don't want to scratch the glass, but it was really thick. So that's the only reason why I did that. And then I also used some, was it sheep's wool?
Steel wool.
Steel wool? Okay, yeah. With the vinegar to just kind of do the circular motion. It didn't scratch or anything, but again, that's because it was so super thick. So you just have to be careful, but the vinegar seemed to help a lot. It's just when you have like 300 tanks, you want to move quickly. But
yeah, and the other thing too with those is that most of those tanks that she was cleaning were not going to be show tanks.
Right. And they were, these are tanks that were used that were sitting for like 7 years in a warehouse, empty. So they were really bad. I think that you could probably get away with just using vinegar and probably a sponge or something, and just, do the circular motion and keep doing it for a while until it loosens up, hopefully. Yeah,
and the other thing that I'll caution you on too is it's always going to look different when you put water in it.
Yes.
The water will hide a lot of flaws. So if you're looking at a used tank, deciding whether or not to buy it, if it's gnarly, just move on to the next one and just leave it alone. But
pick whatever side is better, especially if you're going to just like paint the background anyways or something, because that's what we did. We painted the backgrounds because they were going to be the good ones that I could get really clean. We're going to go in the fish store. The ones that weren't going to get as perfect as we needed them, they went out in the warehouse and they became like
fry tanks
for when we were breeding. So
yep. But also what I was going to suggest was go ahead, if you already got the tank and you're trying to clean it up and you're like, daggone it, this thing just won't get spotless, put water in it. Don't set it up yet. Just put water in it in your driveway or something. And I bet you it'll look dramatically different once you get water in it.
Then you'll see what you're working with too.
Right. And then
like Lumpy Dog said, fill it up with water and then put a lot of the vinegar in it and
let it sit.
Yep. And that definitely does work, especially if you're only dealing with one tank. So
Yeah, and I don't know if I said the name. That was from Melissa Graves. I think I did. But Meredith Rich with the $5. My son dumped my jewelry box in my 20-gallon tank yesterday, and it looked like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, wow.
No fish were hurt.
What
Wow.
an awesome decoration.
Yeah. Hey, your son is an interior or an aquarium decorator.
Yeah.
He's an aquascaper and didn't even know it.
Right. Awesome.
That's hilarious. I'm glad none of the fish were hurt. And I'm glad you didn't lose any of your jewelry. Sand Creek Aquatics with the $2. He's sleeping. Just sleeping. Just wanted to let us know he's sleeping. Multi-Tank Addiction, again, with the $2. Sounds very familiar. Sorry to hear that, John. Yeah, I mean, it happens to all of us. It does. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know, I mean, I'm going to catch heat for it. My God, that guy's lost 2 arowanas in 6 months. That's just the way it happens on YouTube. But, you know, what would you rather I do? Go get another one and act like it didn't happen? I'm not going to do that. And I'm not saying that because anybody else has done it. I'm just saying I'm not going to do that. I mean, things happen. I'm going to tell you that they happened, and you can learn from my mistakes. Don C, $20. More Five Guys on me. Enjoy. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. We did have to go to another Five Guys. We went to Five Guys on the way to the meeting on Saturday. But here's the funny thing.
You guys had Five Guys.
Well, yeah, you went to Starbucks because you're one of those hipster people.
Shush.
But
I'd rather have something healthy.
the funny thing is, Corey had never had five. At least that's what he said to me. Katie said something different, but he said to me that he'd never had it before, and he got a burger on Thursday night before the stream. He was obsessed. He loved it. He talked about it all weekend. We got another one on Saturday, and then it turns out he's got one like 5 minutes from his house. And he never even knew it.
Funny.
So shows Corey is just tunnel vision. He's on point all the time, not paying attention to fast food restaurants. But you're welcome, Seattle Five Guys, because you're probably going to get quite a bit of business from that guy. Henry Chavez with the $50 in Mexican pesos, I believe that's what it is. Thank you very, very much for that. Stuff happens no matter what you do. Even humans can fall ill and suddenly pass away for tons of reasons. I'm sure your arowana had a great home. He definitely did have a great home, and you're exactly right. My dad, perfectly fine. 1 minute riding in his canoe, next minute in the water, dead. I mean, yeah. So it happens with humans too. And this is why I don't mean to bring the stream down here, but I hope I go that way, the way my dad died. This was 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago. It was 1997, 23 years ago. I hope I go that way. My grandmother, his mother, died in her sleep, 75 years old. Went to sleep. They literally found her like this, dead in her bed. I hope I go one of those two ways. But anyway, don't mean to go that way. Just kind of verifying Henry Chavez. It's true. Things happen. And, you know, I've had people, friends of mine, younger than me, just die for no reason. So, yeah, it sucks. And it's very scary. Monday O'Reilly with the $5. I'm cycling my first tank, 5.5 gallons, and I've got no ammonia, 2 parts per million nitrites, and some nitrate. Do I need more ammonia, or am I okay? If you have nitrites and no ammonia, you're doing good. That's what you want. That means you're working your way through. And it doesn't mean, hey, you're good. You've got nitrites. Go get your fish. I don't know if you're doing a fish in, fish out, doesn't matter. But you're on your way. If the ammonia's out and the other two are showing, that means you're on the right track. So whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it. I should have let you have that one because I've been doing all the talking. I feel like a jerk. Would you like to add anything to that?
No, you're fine.
Please?
Honestly, this is going to make me sound like a jerk, but I was just sitting here and not even hearing anything you said. I was reading the chat.
Welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is real life here. Alan Colton with the $20. Nothing else. Just here's my money. There you go. Take my money and go buy Five Guys with it, or a new arowana, which I will not be doing because 2 is fine. Mel Hernandez with another $20 super chat. I'm having a similar issue with discus Only one didn't eat the past 2 days. All the others are fine and eating. Don't know what to do or how to handle this. Should I put him in a separate tank, watch, or leave him with the group? See, that's the thing. I mean, you know what? It's so hard to tell. When it's been a couple of days, it's time to start thinking, okay, something could really be wrong. If they skip one meal, I mean, how many times have you skipped a meal? Your tummy hurts, or you're just feeling fat that day and you don't feel like eating or whatever. So skipping a meal is not something that I think you should sound the alarms over. But when it's been a couple of days, yeah, it's time to start thinking about what could I do, especially when it comes to discus. And as far as should you treat them in their own tank, you might want to. I'm not going to give advice on what medications to use, because then you're going to go spend a bunch of money, and then if your fish dies, it's my fault. I don't want to do that. But I definitely am a believer in not medicating fish that don't need to be medicated. And also, you've probably got your discus in a rather large tank. It's going to be very expensive to treat that entire tank. So getting your fish in a smaller tank, we have a 10-gallon tank that we use. Mm-hmm. If something's wrong with one of the discus, we'll put them down in that. Medicating 10 gallons is super easy.
That's what I did. One of my discus was just not, it just seemed like they were all being a little bit of a bully to one discus. So it wasn't getting the food like it should. And I felt bad for it, and I was like, I don't want it to end up starving because the other ones are chasing it around and it's not eating. So I put it down in a 10-gallon, and I fed it more than the ones in the tank, even though they eat 3 times a day. I fed it a little bit more, water changed more, and got him stronger for like 3 months. And then I finally put him back in, and yes, he's still smaller, but he just zooms around with them, and he's perfectly fine. So
back to being one of the pack.
Yeah, and one of the things that I learned from Hans, who doesn't like to medicate fish either, he gave me some advice before when that fish in particular, I thought something was wrong with it. And he had said, well, what's the temperature? Up the temperature. And yeah, I did that. And it did seem to work a little bit, but I didn't want to risk losing that fish. So I just stuck him down in the other tank all by himself and fed him more. He got better.
Well, and Hans's advice is clean water is always the best medicine. That's basically.
Oh yeah.
That's what he advises. I don't know if he's against medications or not. We're certainly not against medications, but that's what the advice that he would give you is good clean water.
Good clean water.
Do water changes every day if you have to.
Make sure the temperature is warm enough, because fish sometimes they don't do well if it's not warm enough.
And this is just advice for discus, folks, by the way. We're talking discus specifically here. This doesn't apply to goldfish, and it doesn't apply to every single fish out there. We're specifically having a discus conversation.
And there are different reasons why fish don't eat. Like your arowana not eating is totally different than why my discus wasn't eating. Your arowana wasn't getting picked on. He was swimming and happy with everybody. My discus wasn't eating because he was getting picked on and stressed out and not able to get his food. So 2 different situations here. So
yeah, and you did the right thing and I didn't. And your fish is alive and healthy and well, and mine is not. So but yeah, anyway, we don't need to keep beating me up here. Geez. Bob Kaler with the $20. And it just says, thanks for being you. Just a nice little pear emoji. I love that. Bob's a good dude. Stephen P2003, $5. Sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss. I lost 4 guppies today. No idea why, other than they really seem to enjoy dying, especially the pretty ones. Yeah, that's frustrating. One of the weird things about guppies, their life expectancy is not terribly long. If you haven't seen the video, that Corey did in Israel. I know this has sounded like, the Corey show for the last couple of weeks, but he did a video at a Guppy farm in Israel. Did you watch that? It's like 45 minutes long.
I don't remember if I watched that one.
I can tell you right now, it's a 45-minute watch that is as entertaining as any television show out there. This Guppy farm is unbelievable. It's like a laboratory. And the guy talks about it in there, like their life expectancy is about 2 years. So if you buy a guppy, you say that your guppies are good at dying, you might be buying guppies that are a year and a half old. And, they're old and you don't know it.
I've had issues with guppies before. And it's funny because the 75-gallon, I started off with a 10-gallon with 10 guppies, and it got overrun because they kept popping out babies. So I stuck them in the 75-gallon, and now there's probably 75 guppies. But if I take one of those guppies and I put it in another tank, it dies. I mean, it's crazy. I stuck like 3 in my shrimp tank, and they didn't just die, they disappeared. So I don't know.
Yeah, there is something super special about that 75 though that it's just got like 175 guppies in it. I love it.
And the funny thing is, Bob was supposed to send me purple guppies once, and he never did.
A lot of things Bob are supposed to do.
But it's okay. It's okay because, Bob, I don't need your purple guppies because I made my own purple guppies. I have purple pink guppies, and I made them myself with my guppies. I don't know how, but it happened.
You mix purple. Purple is red and green. Who cares? I can't do color tonight.
I have the white ones,
blue and
I
red
have yellow
and
ones. I don't know where the purple and the pink came from.
We'll never know.
It's okay.
UPSer living the dream, $20. Lots of people with the $20 super chats tonight. Good grief. For the new Arowana Fund, thanks for all that you guys do. I'm 8 months into the hobby and have had some tough times learning everything. You all, Corey and Bob, we don't talk about Bob here, have taught me so much. Thanks for taking time to educate me and others. Kudos. Amazing. Thank you. I've said it before on this stream. I'm Bill Murray on Zombieland. That's why we do it. Thank you. No, that's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. UPSer living the dream. Is that what it's supposed to be? UPSer? Okay. Anyway, Lefty3213A, lowercase a, Welp. My job just emailed that we're closed for 2 weeks as of tomorrow. Ouch. Guess I'm not buying my new fish like I planned. No money. You shouldn't be giving me $5. That you need that. But that's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to hear that. That's, that is the scariest thing to me about this whole thing that's happening right now. And Corey and I talked about it. You and I and Corey talked about it. I started thinking about, what if the whole country shuts down for 3 weeks or whatever it is? Seems like everybody seems to be saying April 1st, like everything's until April 1st.
And then they're going to say, April Fools, still shut down.
Yeah, really. The impact that could have on small business, the impact that it could have. I'm not worried about what it's going to happen to professional sports. All the owners are billionaires. I'm not worried about those jerks, but
they're not all jerks.
Most of them are jerks, except for maybe Mark Cuban. But even the Nats owners can be jerks sometimes. They don't want to give anybody any money. But anyway, those people are going to be fine. But it's you got to think about it. The people that work, the concession stands or security or beer man walking around at these events, they're not going to have jobs. And you got, it just scares me. That's what scares me, let alone what it could do to the industry that we love so much, but what could happen to small business all over.
I think one of the things I was thinking about today, I feel bad for the shelters. What about the animals? I hope it doesn't come to that point. You know what I mean? Because they still have to be fed and taken care of. So.
But you know what? animal people are crazy people, aren't we? We're all crazy people. And the people that work at those shelters and volunteer at those shelters, they're just gonna be like, ain't no stupid virus gonna keep me out from feeding the dogs. They got to eat. Right. So, and cat people are even crazier. So, yeah. But yeah, sorry to hear that, Lefty. That is a shame. But you know what? Hey, it's just a few weeks and you'll recover. We all will. I think we're going to be okay. But, anybody that's affected by this, we'll recover. Everything will be fine.
We have each other. We're all on here.
And the fish will be around waiting for you when you're ready to buy them.
I guess that doesn't pay the bills, but we can talk about it.
I'm going to talk a little selfishly here for a second. One of my first reactions was like, well, I'm kind of glad we have the YouTube channel then, because, we don't have to leave if we don't want to. We'll kind of be okay. And then, Corey set me straight real fast with that. Like, oh, no, wait a minute. If everything's shutting down, these companies aren't going to want to be advertising. There's not going to be any money on YouTube. So, yeah, thanks, Corey. But he's very right when it comes to that. So, yeah, I mean, fortunately, and I know this because I go into so many houses every single day for my other job, a lot of people work from home now. Mm-hmm. And whether there's a virus or not, so many people work from home. So, hopefully most of the jobs are going to be able to, a lot of jobs are going to be able to do that. But obviously if you're a custodian at a school, or if you're a, somebody that works as a receptionist at a desk, or you're whatever, you obviously can't do that at home. So it's unfortunate.
Yep.
Brian Schultz became a new member. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the team. Gaz Prov1 with the €5. Hi, I'm from Scotland.
Nice.
I have 20 tiger barbs in a 50-gallon. One isolates himself for weeks, but eats fine. Why? Just a loner. Could be. If the fish is eating and there is no scars, or, if the fish isn't shredded.
But wait a minute. What are the other fish? I mean,
well, he said 20 tiger barbs in a 50-gallon.
See, I don't have it right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I wasn't. Okay.
I like to use human analogies for a lot of things. My brother, right. I love my brother. I would give my life for my brother. He's 5 years older than me, so he's an old man. My brother would rather be by himself than be by anybody, except for maybe his kids. And sometimes I wonder if he'd rather be by himself than be with them. Yeah. He is a loner. That's him. As a child, he was 5 years older than me, but we would go to grandma's house, and we would get to grandma's house and he'd be gone, off doing his own thing. He wasn't getting into shenanigans. Don't worry. He would just be down at the water. He would be doing something. Wouldn't be with us. Yeah.
He was into shenanigans.
Well, anyway, that's another conversation, but that's just my brother's personality. He's not a bad guy. He's not a weirdo. He's not a creepy guy. He's just, a good guy. Even now, he's 50. I think he just turned 50, didn't he? Yeah, he's 50.
Your brother, not mine.
Well, you're supposed to remember birthdays. You're on Facebook. You know people's birthdays, but he's 5 years older than me. I'm 45. So he's 50 years old. Even now, if we had a gathering here where there's, 25 people at our house for Christmas or something like that, my brother would be sitting out on the front porch smoking a cigarette by himself. Yep. And if people came out there to be on the porch with him, he'd move over to the driveway. I mean, he's a guy that likes to be by himself. He's always been that way. So, okay. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to panic over. I don't think there's anything to panic over. If the fish is not injured and damaged and all of that, just kind of like to go off and do his own thing, I think it's going to be fine. UPSer living the dream again with the $5, as if the 20 before wasn't enough. Yes, I drive for UPS. Call us the COVID-19 toilet paper delivery guys. Hey, this woman right here.
You shush. I was so upset this morning. A couple people know this. I messaged them, explained the situation. We were down to one roll of toilet paper. We have 5, 6, I don't know how many people we have in the house. Anyways, down to one roll of toilet paper. I was like, crap. I have to go to the store. So I go. Thankfully, there was toilet paper, so I got some. Not a lot to choose from, but I did get some. But no hand soap. no Clorox wipes, no bleach. I'm like, geez, I'm glad I have this stuff at home since I use it on a regular basis, not just when I hear of, something coming around. But the funny story, I left and realized I forgot my hairspray. I meant to get some more hairspray. So I go back and I get some hairspray. I get in line, and the guy in front of me, he was stocking up on a lot of beer, and had one single roll of toilet paper. I just thought it was so funny. Like, he was so worried about running out of beer. Didn't care about that toilet paper, though. He just needed one roll. So, anyways, thought it was funny.
What was his name? Steve Hudson?
No. I didn't ask the guy what his name was. That's weird.
Okay, so we've gone through what we wanted to talk about. We've gone through the super chats. Now it's time to open it up to you. And the way we have to do this is when you're talking, I'm going to look for a question. And when I'm talking, you got to look for a question. That's just the way it's going to have to be. And this will be perfect because you can be looking now. I will thank this super chat that just came through. As a matter of fact, Aquarium Conversations became a new member. Welcome to the team. And Steve Carb with the $2, 21 student, got job at local fish store. Thank you for your knowledge. How about that? That's very cool. Something that we forgot to mention.
Maybe that means 21-year-old student.
Well, that's what I assumed too.
Oh, okay.
We actually met a young man that's doing the same thing. He's younger though. He's still in high school because I took Marie to Nova Tropicals on Saturday after the meeting that we had, that we were up there with Corey, and that was really cool. They are on their way, and Aaron is an employee up there. He only works there on Saturdays, and it was really cool to meet him. And I love seeing young people in the hobby. I love to see that, and I love to see young people that are passionate about the hobby. And this is somebody that works at a fish store. So
he reminded me of Chase.
Yes.
We had a young guy that would come in and help me after school, and he would work for credit just so that he could buy stuff in the fish store. One of the kids' friends, it's so funny because they didn't want to be in the fish store, but somebody else did. So it was really cool, and he reminded me a lot of Chase. He was just so into the hobby, and the store was great. Oh, I love the store. It was amazing.
Did you have a question all lined up, or you want me to go? I found one. I can go ahead with one here. It's a simple one.
Oh, whatever. Of course.
So let's see. Brian Rice said, "How much light do angelfish need?" None. You want to give them light, of course, because most likely you're going to have live plants in the tank with angels. Angels in a planted tank, to me, it just makes sense. And I know you're looking at a tank behind Marie. You don't see it right now because the camera's on me, but the tank behind Marie has angels in it and no plants at all. We were actually just talking about that. If there is no big fish deal this weekend, we bought a lot of plants to put in your demo tank that you're supposed to be doing at the event. So if it doesn't happen, we're going to need somewhere to put those plants, and maybe she'll end up putting them in that tank. But no, I mean, the angels are going to be perfectly fine. You want to give them 5-6 hours a day, they're going to be fine with that. Unless they're in a cave, if they're in a room that gets no sunlight whatsoever, then, you might want to have your lights on a little bit more. Give them some light because, otherwise it'll freak them out. But if your room gets normal ambient light in it, you can turn your lights on when you get home from work and turn them off when you go to bed, and they'll be perfectly fine. Of course, that's not going to be conducive for live plants. So if you do have your live plants in there, you're going to want to look into that. But angels don't require a whole lot of light. So did you get something?
Well, there's a super chat from Mike.
Okay, go for it.
Right?
From Fish Tank Barn? Yep.
Yeah. Just got home from Fish Club meeting. BFD Lysol ice cream fun. Big fish deal ice cream fun. Thank you very much, Mike. Your turn.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go to a super chat here too, because you took the lazy route there.
No.
Don C, have y'all heard or know of any long-term fish sitting? Going on my 4th deployment in April.
Oh, wow.
First of all, thank you for your service. Our kid only had to go once, and that was enough. So thank you for that. You know what? I don't know of any services, particularly I don't know where you live. But even if you lived, across the street from me, well, first of all, we'd probably volunteer to keep your fish if we had somewhere to put them. But the best thing to do in a situation like that is, rather than, trying to have somebody come to your house to feed your fish, which, I mean, you might not even you might be getting rid of your house and finding a new place when you get back, whatever, I don't know. But one of the better things to do would be to talk to people. If you're involved in a club, find out if there's somebody that you could bring them to, and somebody that you could pay. If it's a fish keeper that has a fish room and they have tank space for the fish, they'll probably do it for a couple dollars. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm taking care of my fish anyway. Put some food in there, give me $20 for food or whatever. We'll be totally fine with it. I know I would do that. I wouldn't charge you anything because, unless it was like a Buddha fry that needed to be in a tank by itself and has to eat frozen mice or something, First of all, I'm not your guy if that's the thing, but you understand what I'm saying. The best thing to do would be to find somebody that you could just give them to. Can you hold on to these for me? Rather than trying to get somebody to come to your place to take care of them, because it's never going to be done the way you want it. Right. And as far as services, like I would imagine that there would probably be aquarium service companies that would do something like that. But then you're letting people into your house, you're giving them a key or giving them a lock combination or something. I don't know. That just seems a little risky to me. I would rather take the fish somewhere, but unfortunately there isn't boarding places for fish. So, and depending on what the fish are, maybe talk to your local fish store. If they're, some gorgeous fish, maybe they have a display tank and they're like, yeah, we can put them in there. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. So, your turn.
Okie dokie. Paul Holland, selling off my red belly piranhas. Gonna have a vacant 135 gallon. What would you guys put in it? Well, I'll tell you what I would put in it, because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. What I would do if I had another 125 gallon, and that would be Mbunas. I would have an all Mbuna tank again, just like I used to. Absolutely love it. You can't go wrong with Mbunas because they're all colorful. So it really doesn't matter if you have males and females, but if you do have both, you're definitely going to have babies. So you have to think about that.
Angels heavily planted with Denison barbs. I'm on a Denison barb kick right now. I love that fish, and I would love to get some. But I'm more of a monster fish guy. I do love angels, but the monster fish are kind of my thing right now that I'm kind of obsessing over. But I still love my Africans. I've got that tank, 240 gallon with peacocks and haps in it. So to do something completely different from what you're used to seeing from me, I would love to do the angels. But you know what? I'd also love a wide open goldfish tank, 125 gallons or whatever it said, 135 gallons, plenty of room for a goldfish, or a giant swarm of rummy-nosed tetras. How about that?
All right.
Curtis Schindler said, KG Tropicals, will you and Lisa... KG Tropicals and Lisa is the same, you see. So KG Tropicals, will you and Lisa... I'm just giving you a hard time. Will you be at Aquashella Chicago? I'm going to tell you yes. But I'm also telling you I'm going to be at the Big Fish deal. And I don't know what's happening there. We are going to be at Aquashella in Chicago, not Dallas. Dallas is the same weekend as our senior graduating from high school. So it's not gonna be something that we're gonna be able to do. But Chicago, we were worried because they released the date. Is it August 8th and 9th? It's actually the week before that same senior has to be delivered to college. So yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks for us. But yeah, Aquashella Chicago, especially, they've moved it to the Schaumburg Convention Hall or Exposition Center or whatever it's called. That's where they had the aquatic experience when I went in 2015. It's huge. It's a massive place, and it's going to be absolutely amazing for Aquashella. It's going to be a completely different experience than what I've only been to one Aquashella, but it's going to be night and day difference comparing it to that Aquashella from last year in Chicago, because it's going to be wide open as opposed to smaller, more densely populated rooms. It's going to be wide open. And we don't know what we're going to do yet, if we're going to try the cross country road trip, stopping at fish stores on the way, which would be so much fun. Or if we're going to fly in, or if we're just going to drive straight in. I don't know. It depends on if I can get this one on a plane. I don't know, but we're going to be there, but it's just a matter of how are we going to be there? That part I don't know. So your turn.
Okay. Joanne Cavan. Not to brag, but I've always washed my hands and used toilet paper, even before it was hip and trendy. Just saying. You go, girl. I'm proud of you.
Oh, that was it, huh? That's all we get.
Yeah, I told her I was proud of her.
There wasn't a question there. I mean, I could take that and do 5 minutes on that, and you just say, "I'm proud of you." Okay, your turn, John.
All right, your turn, John.
Let's see if this is the one that I wanted. Amy from New Zealand with the $10. Hi, J and L. My ember tetras seem to just swim through their food, and if it floats, they ignore it. I feed flakes, bug bites, crushed micro pellets. Any suggestions? Had them over 4 months, so they must be eating. Yeah, they're not going to live 4 months if they're not eating. They're certainly eating something. It could be one of those things where they, for whatever reason, they just prefer to let it go down, and then they go and pick it out of the substrate. If there's other fish in there with them, it could be that the other fish are intimidating them. Ember tetras can hold their own, so it shouldn't be that, but you never really know. Maybe the current is too strong at the top and it's freaking them out and they don't want to go up there to get it. But what I like to tell people, and I'm not accusing you of this, Amy, but don't overfeed to try to see if your fish will eat. You understand what I'm saying? Because I've talked to so many people that have done this. Like, I threw a handful of pellets in and they didn't eat it. So I threw a handful of flakes in and they didn't eat that either. So I threw in and all of a sudden this person's throwing like 1.5 pounds of food in the tank. Don't make that mistake. I'm sure you didn't. But
my ember tetras do the exact same thing. And what I've done is I take bloodworms, the freeze-dried bloodworms, and I make them kind of powdery-ish almost. Like I rub my fingers together to make it a lot smaller, and they go right after it. But if I try to give them something else, they just kind of ignore it. So
yeah, I mean, and another idea too would be to maybe try frozen. There's not many fish out there. What's so tiny?
I don't know. My ember tetra is so tiny. It's like,
well, I mean, frozen brine shrimp is pretty tiny too.
Did you not hear my words? I said I do this and I make it smaller.
Have you seen brine shrimp? They're like specks.
Can be that long. But
I'm not talking about Caridina shrimp. I'm talking about or Amano shrimp like you bought the other day. Yeah, we got to talk about that trip. We got to do that.
I put the shrimp on the KG Tropical story. The shrimp.
Oh, did you? The Amano?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Ryan Salsig. Let's talk mud skippers. KG Tropicals have any experience? Nope.
Why would you pick a question that you know the answer is just going to be nope?
Nope. Because everybody has the opportunity to ask a question. I answered it.
Very true. You know what? I like mud skippers. I think they're really cool. I have not jumped on that wave, but I think they're neat. I'm not going to tell you we're never going to do them, but I don't have any experience with them, and unfortunately, I could not give you any advice on them at all. But Zenzo Tozawa has done some,
Yep.
and Zenzo's a friend of mine, and he's got a camera that's way better than mine, and it makes me jealous. But my drone's better than his. But anyway, why did I even just say that? He's probably got the best camera out of all YouTubers not named Jimmy. Okay. Canon EOS R, in case you're wondering. Aquarium is maintained by Andy with the $2. Just wanted to say great stream. That's a very, very nice guy. I saw something that I was going to talk about and I forgot it. So do you have another one on deck already?
Yeah, because I just scrolled down a little.
Okay.
At KG Tropical, Moonstone asked at KG Tropicals, is she going to play field hockey in school or no? Big step for sure. Yes, she just signed a couple of days ago. She is committed to a college and she will be going to school on a scholarship. So for field hockey. So yeah, super duper proud of her.
Absolutely. Yes, we had the signing ceremony the other day and it was very cool and very fun. Mice gift. I appear to have missed an hour. Did the U.S. clocks go forward by an hour recently? They did last Saturday. We had daylight savings time. So yeah, the daylight savings time thing is so confusing. I mean, I know what time it is for me, but it doesn't change in other areas and stuff like that. So yeah, whatever you're used to seeing, whatever time you're used to seeing us at, will be an hour later now. It's not because we moved. It's because time moved, because we got in this DeLorean and we went 88 miles an hour and now we're an hour into the future. Monday O'Reilly, $5. What would you recommend going with my future beta in my 5.5 gallon once my tank is finished cycling? Did you not watch the video we put up the other day? We put up a video on Sunday. Top 10 tank mates for betas. Definitely go check that out. 5.5 gallon. I mean, we did talk about neon or cardinal tetras in that video. There's also the idea of shrimp, snails, things like that, cory cats. 5.5 gallons, you're not going to be able to have all that many. But yeah, I mean, I would probably go with a couple of cory cats and maybe a couple of neon tetras or something. I don't know. Something very, very small. But yeah, if you're going to get shrimp, make sure that tank is fully cycled because they can be a little sensitive.
I see Science Gal Aquatics says, hi everybody, better late than never. And I just wanted to do a little shout out to her because she did a really cool video on purple emperor tetras that she got from Rachel. And it was a really well done video. So just wanted to shout her out for that.
You don't give me much time to find another question. You know that. It's very important to us. It's very important to me that we get into the chat in these streams. We try to all the time. Usually our main topic goes a lot longer than today's did. And then getting through the super chats and all that kind of stuff. I really don't want to only answer questions that are in super chats, but it can be difficult. You can see we got 2 people. It can be difficult to find the right questions to address in the chat. And one thing I don't want to be is her and I sitting here staring at the screen. Okay, let's find another one. You know, that's not good. And so Cameron just asked that question. Do I need to subscribe? I just answered that question. No, you don't. But there's 478 people in here right now, and a lot of people are asking questions. So there's no way we can do every single one. And we only have 11 minutes left. So, you know, it is what it is. DMC Productions KG is my favorite tool, and Lisa is the sharpest. You guys are the best. We got to start thinking about another episode of that show. I'm going to be honest with you. That show is very disappointing to me. The performance of that show. It's something that I thought would catch on much faster, and I thought it would be a much better performer than it is. And it's just not. And it makes me sad because I love making those videos. Even at the event on Saturday that we went to, that people didn't know we were going to be there. They didn't go there to see us. They went there to see Corey, but I don't even know how many people come up and say, "Hey, Steve," joking about it. People seem to like it, but it's not gaining momentum like we were hoping it would. And if it's not something that's going to work out, then it might be something that we drop down to maybe once a month or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. So.
Jimmy Fugate. Hello, John and Lisa. I'm a big fan of New Fish Keeper. I know some don't like the glowfish, but I love mine. It's what got me in the hobby, now waiting for a 90-gallon to cycle. Well, for one, if that got you in the hobby, then I think that's great. You got to start from somewhere. And I think it's exciting that you're starting a 90-gallon tank now. And I hope you have a lot of fun with it and success. And geez, I mean, that's a big tank to go from I'm assuming a smaller tank with glowfish to a bigger tank. So have fun filling that up.
It's always cool going to a bigger tank.
That is awesome.
Fish keeping is just like riding a bike. Once you know how to do it, you can do it on any size tank, and you'll actually find the bigger the tank, the easier it is to take care of them. So yeah, it's a good thing. When I had a little break from the hobby. I'm not talking about a year and a half ago. I'm talking about before her and I met. I had a little bit of a break, and my first tank when I came back was 125 gallon, and we still have it. It has her discus in it right now. So, bigger is always better. Go ahead.
That's what she said.
Thank you. It's so much different when a woman says that. It's a completely different joke when a woman says it versus Michael Scott.
Did you look at this one? I can't recall if you did it by Furlow's Fish Room, the $5 super chat.
I did not. So
okay,
have at it.
So. Okay. Stocking ideas for a 29-gallon. I have African and South American cichlids, so I'd like to do something different. Let's see, for a 29-gallon, that you could have fun with that. What about rams? I mean, I know it's still another cichlid, but they're kind of different and cute. I'm not so sure I would recommend angels, though. No, not angels, not discus. And you really can't do much with African cichlids in there, not even really in Bunas for a 29. So
Shelley's.
I would definitely say a community fish. Get some rummy-nosed tetras.
That's our answer for every question. You got 125 gallon? Get you 60 rummy-nosed tetras. That's just...
I mean, you could have a really cool little tank. You could get like a schooling, like a school of rummy-nosed tetras, some Cory cats or not. But, I mean, you could do a lot of fun stuff with a 29-gallon. Lots of community fish to choose from.
I don't think I have it. Do I have it? I don't think I have it. I have a really cool video of a fish that I want to get soon, and that is the Silvertip Tetra. I love that. Oh. I love that fish. I saw them in 2 different fish stores in the last week. Love those. Their tails are like Denison barb tails. They just stand out from a mile away. Rummy-nosed tails are the same way. Mm-hmm. Love those fish. So yeah, take a look at those too. Those are really, really fun and very cool, very active. Get you a good school of them in a 29-gallon. You'll be really happy. Janet, thank you so much for the $5. Yesterday, I saw my mystery snails mating, and now my female is dead.
Uh-oh.
Any idea why? Maybe they weren't mating. Maybe they were fighting.
I don't know.
Do snails fight?
I've never seen snails fight, and I don't know the difference between a male and a female snail.
I thought they all just kind of were like hermaphrodites. I mean, yeah, that's weird. I've never been the snail person. I know I talked about them in last week's 10 things, but I've kept snails and I like snails and I think they're fun and I love Gary on SpongeBob, but I'm not like an expert on the snails. So, do they fight? I don't think they do, but maybe if one's on top of the other, it could suffocate them. I don't know. It's
like, get off me.
I'm glad this is happening at 10:24 because we still got 474 people looking at it though. Longest it's taken to treat a bad case of ick. A bad case of ick. I mean, every case is bad. That's what I'm supposed to say. That's politically correct, right?
Is it a full tank or just one fish?
I mean, because for ick has always been something 3-4 days and it's gone. I mean,
I've taken care of it really quick because you remember I would do the ick dip.
Yeah.
Very, very seldom would we get it, but I found a way to treat it really fast.
If it's taking an extended period of time, I would think of maybe trying to up your temperature even a little bit more. Some people start throwing more meds in. Let's over medicate and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a believer in that. I'm a believer in warm water and salt is going to be, your first thing that you try with ick. And, maybe you need to take your temperature up another degree or two. That would be something that I would try. But, the longest we've had, I can't remember it ever being something over like 3 or 4 days. I can't remember anything with that.
The little container that you see at like fish stores, they're clear. I would put one in. Like, I think I recall it was an African cichlid, right? I mean, it's been so long.
Oh, yeah, like 6 years ago.
It was like one tank we had an issue with. And I would take the fish and individually put it in like an ick dip. I would put the medicine in. It was from API.
Super Ick Cure.
Super Ick Cure. And I'd stick it in that container with a little bit of water. Well, as much water as I could put in it. And I mean, the container is like this big, one packet. And I'd stick the fish in there, give it a dip for like 3 minutes tops because I didn't want to, cause it to die, overdose.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, so I would do it for like 3 minutes, and you could literally see it just starting to come off and fall right to the bottom. And then I'd stick it back in the tank with the salt and the heat, and just make sure you're constantly doing water changes, like every day or every other day.
All right, a couple of real quick ones here, and then we've only got 3 minutes left, and we're all going to go over to Rack's live stream, the Community Tank Live, because Rack is such a good guy. I haven't even mentioned the extreme beta food that they just came out with. I've been meaning to talk about this. I'm really excited about it, and your beta over there absolutely loves it.
Yes.
We'll talk more about that
Slim Shady.
next week.
Can you show Slim Shady?
Well, if I put the camera on you, yeah, there he is. You can't see him. It's too far away.
Oh.
The other thing, folks, if there is a big fish deal this weekend, don't forget, I'm going to be giving these cans of food out. We gave the bigger cans away for Corey because, that's Corey. But, excuse me. I'm sorry. I just swallowed wrong because I'm talking so loud. Laura Barron with the $2. Any experience with horsehead loaches? I'm going to tell you a funny story about horsehead loaches. When did we go to House of Tropicals? That was on Tuesday. So 2 days ago, I had never even heard of that fish. I've been keeping fish 25 years. I have never kept that fish. And I saw it for the first time on Tuesday because we went and we spent a B-roll day at House of Tropicals up in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And I got hours worth of B-roll footage, which I've been cataloging ever since. And I saw those for the very first time, and I was fascinated by them. And I got video footage. They will appear as B-roll in a future 10 Things video. But that's the first time I've seen those. And it's pretty obvious why they call them horse heads. But unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about them. And then I missed it. Where somebody asked something. Oh, shoot. See, I just talked about how I hate when people do this. Yes, somebody asked, hey, John, have you ever considered, or have you ever thought about keeping a wolf cichlid? I have. And I've had them back in the day. But right now I don't really have a tank that would hold a doveye. But I love them. I think they're very, very cool. But go to Scott's channel and you'll see doveye over there. But no, I love them. I think they're awesome. But it's kind of a fish that you need to get like a 150 or something, and you just have that fish in there. And I don't have that kind of a setup. And I'm pretty much convinced that when I add another big tank down here, it's going to be a saltwater tank. I'm pretty much convinced of that. And what was it? A queen angel? That's what they told us the other day. I have fallen in love with that fish. And so that's what I think is going to be the centerpiece of the saltwater tank is the queen angel. And if you, I'm going to tell you this, if you watch my Aquashella video, so it would have uploaded like last November or whenever it was. The title of the video is A Place Every Fish Keeper Should Go. And there's 2 black diamond stingrays on the thumbnail. If you watch that video, there is a orange queen angel in a cylindrical tank. It's one of the most beautiful fish I've ever seen. And that's what I'm going to go for. Not a cylindrical tank, but I'm going to search for a orange angel like that one. That's what I want in my saltwater tank. I don't know how talking about Dovite led into that, but there we go. I guess it's because if I'm going to keep another big fish, it's going to be that angel. So go ahead.
You had a catastrophe this week, and somebody else has had a catastrophe this week, and that's Pam. Her tank completely exploded, and all her fish were everywhere, and water everywhere. It was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and she saved some of them, but not all of them. Isn't that terrible?
That's every fish keeper's worst nightmare. I mean, that is unfortunate, and I did not know about that, Pam. I'm very sorry to hear that. Nobody likes to hear that. That's horrible. Okay, we're going to have to shut it down. It's 10:31. Go through them real quick. I think there's 2 of them there that we missed.
Oh.
UPSer just keeps throwing money at us nonstop.
Oh, she's so sweet. With Candy's help, I am using 84 degrees, ick X, erythromycin, 55-gallon Planet tank, 3 new fish have ick and are covered. Oh. Wow. I mean, medicine doesn't do everything, though. That's the thing. We still have to do water changes and follow the directions and add it again if they tell you to on the box. I've never used ICX, but I would do that, and again, definitely water change. Don't just think the medicine is going to take care of it all by itself. So that would be the only other thing I would add to what you said Candy told you to do, for sure. So next super chat.
I'm curious to see how you're going to answer this one.
Oh no. Maggie Blystone with the $5 super chat. Thank you. 150-gallon tank, 5 African clawed frogs, and 2 Plecos. What else can I put with them that they won't eat? For one, I don't even know what an African clawed frog is.
It sounds terrifying.
Don't. I'd have to Google that.
Yeah, neither one of us.
But I still wouldn't know what to tell you, so I can't give you a proper answer.
Frogs are cool. I've never kept them like as pets. And so it would be impossible for either one of us to answer that. That is a big drag when people super chat and then we can't answer their question. It's terrible. But I mean, plecos are pretty easy going on most things. So it's not them that you really are going to need to worry about. But the African clawed frogs, those might be little teeny tiny frogs, or they might be big bastards that are like, yeah. I don't know. So it's impossible for us to advise you on that.
I don't even know who to send her to.
I know. Jay Wilson does some things with poison frogs, and
the little
Rack does some stuff with frogs. Maybe you know what, Maggie, you might want to do is go over to the River Life channel. And you don't have to super chat Rack. He's a nice guy. He'll answer your question whether you super chat or not. And go over there. He knows a whole lot more about frogs than we do. I could almost guarantee you he could help you with that question. So I've seen the stream has been shared a couple of times. Let's all go over and show Rack some love. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast. I'm going to let you close it out.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, I could sit here and do this all night long, but we can't do that. We need to send you over to Rack, and we'll meet you over there. So have a good night and See you next time.